The factory design pattern is a creational design pattern. It provides an interface for creating objects in a superclass, but allows subclasses to alter the type of objects that will be created. This pattern is particularly useful when the exact type of the object to be created is determined at runtime, or when a system should be independent of how its objects are created. Consider the code snippet here in which we have a typical constructor. This second version here with static factory methods of with bar and without bar is much more expressive than the constructor with a boolean. The method names clearly describe the intent of with bar and without bar, while the boolean true or false in the constructor is less obvious and can be confusing. So because it avoids the magic boolean values, it makes the code easier to understand and reduces the likelihood of errors when calling the original constructor. I want to emphasize that the factory method is used when the process for constructing the object is complicated. We need a more expressive way to construct the object. Or when the construction needs a dependency that you do not want in the actual class, or when you need to construct different objects, etc. To summarize, using a factory allows the consumer to create new objects without having to know the details of how they are created or what their dependencies are. They only have to give the information they actually want. I like thinking about design patterns in terms of classes being people, and the patterns are the ways that the people talk to each other. So the factory pattern is like a hiring agency. You have someone that will need a variable number of workers, and this person may know some info they need in the people they hire, but that's it. When they hire a new employee, they call the hiring agency and tell them what they need. To actually hire someone, you need to know a lot of stuff, benefits, eligibility verification, etc. But the person hiring doesn't need to know any of this. The hiring agency handles all of that. So the factory pattern is like a hiring agency. In this code snippet, we have an iThingFactory interface with a getThing method. The ThingFactory implements the iThingFactory interface and acts as a factory for creating thing objects. As you can see, getThing returns a thing object. The getThing method encapsulates the instantiation logic, allowing clients to create a thing instance without needing to know about its dependencies, first dependency and second dependency. This pattern promotes loose coupling and flexibility, especially when managing complex object creation. This image illustrates the factory design pattern using a UML, or Unified Modeling Language, class diagram. Here we have a creator. This is an abstract class that declares the makeProduct method. It serves as a factory that can be subclassed to create different products. The makeProduct method returns an instance of the product interface. Represented by the interface product, it defines a contract. In this case, it has a method called doSomething, which will be implemented by any concrete product classes. Concrete creator A and concrete creator B, these are subclasses of the creator class, and each concrete creator implements the makeProduct method to return a specific type of product. Concrete creator A returns an instance of concrete product A, and concrete creator B returns an instance of concrete product B. This dashed line from the creator class to product initiates a dependency where the creator class depends on the product interface to define the return type of the makeProduct method. And both concrete product A and concrete product B implement the product interface. So the interface product defines a common contract that all products, whether concrete product A, concrete product B, or future products, must follow. And in the diagram, this contract is represented by the method doSomething. The product class defines the interface for all concrete products. The operation method is an abstract method that must be implemented by all concrete products. Concrete products, we have concrete product A and concrete product B, which are implementations of the product interface. They provide specific implementations for the operation method. This is the creator class. The creator class declares the factory method, which returns a product. It also has a method, SumOperation, that can use the product. We also have concrete creators. concrete creator A and concrete creator B. These implement the factory method, which is the abstract method defined in the creator class. Concrete creator A and B implement the factory method to instantiate and return their respective products. Notice that the client code can work with any creator subclass and can call its SumOperation method without knowing which concrete product is being created. Is it concrete product A or concrete product B? The client code does not need to know which concrete product is being created. This demonstrates how the factory design pattern decouples the client code from the concrete product implementations. What are some advantages? Number one is encapsulation. The creation logic is encapsulated within the factory, which promotes cleaner and more maintainable code. Number two is flexibility. You can easily introduce new products by adding new concrete product classes without modifying the client code. Number three is loose coupling. The client code is decoupled from the concrete product implementations, allowing for easier modifications and testing. I want to finish by rehashing the use cases of the factory design pattern. Number one is frameworks and libraries. When creating a framework that should allow users to extend and customize behavior by providing new implementations of interfaces. And number two is complex object creation. We go back to the idea of an expressive constructor. Whenever we want to create complex objects that require multiple steps or configurations, we should be using the factory design pattern. In conclusion, the factory design pattern is a powerful tool for managing object creation and promotes flexibility and maintainability in software design. By decoupling the creation of objects from their usage, it enables developers to create more scalable and adaptable systems.